So I really liked pretty much everything about the OPPO Reno 16 Pro apart from one thing, the bloody price tag, which has been hoyed right up compared with the previous generation. Thanks a bunch, AI toss merchants. And so I've spent this past week with my SIM deep inside of the cheaper OPPO Reno 16 to see if you can save yourself a wee bit of cash but still pack a grade A blower into your pants. But spoiler alert, not quite so much. Anyway, here's my full in-depth OPPO Reno 16 review, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first off, if you do stick the OPPO Reno 16 side by side with that Pro model, well, good bloody luck working out which is which. The only way I can tell them apart is I've got the different wallpaper on the Reno 16, so this is the regular model versus the Pro. Now, both handsets have shrunk down for this generation quite considerably to just 6.32 inches, so a lot more hand-friendly. Your Uncle Spurt definitely massive approval over this decision. That screen surrounded by skinny symmetrical bezels, just as it was on the Pro. And it is the usual flat edge finish, which is all the rage, sadly, but still comfortable to clutch. Helped again by the fact that the Reno 16 is a lightweight handset, weighs just under 200 grams. It certainly feels premium enough as well. You've got the usual metal edging, but then flip around to the back end, and this will likely be rather divisive because you've got that same striking 3D pop planet finish like the Pro model, with that same weird 3D spacey effect that unfortunately YouTube doesn't really do justice to. It is a proper full-on 3D effect, so it does look like those graphics are literally leaping off the back end of this phone. It's an undeniably impressive effect, though I'm still not really sure what the point of it is, unless you're somebody who's easily distracted attempts to mug you. Just dazzle them with this and then do a runner. More importantly for me, despite the fact that it's shiny glass, it doesn't really smudge up very easily. It occasionally gets a wee bit mucky, but just a quick bit of buff and it'll be back to box fresh in no time. And I like how once again that camera bump blends in neatly with the rest of the back end and barely juts out at all. And while the Pro model came in just basically white or black, here on the regular Reno 16, slightly bolder choice of colours. You've got white or also Twilight Violet, or something else purple. Yeah, two purpley colours basically. And the OPPO Reno 16, just like its Pro sibling, is IP68, IP69 and IP69K rated. So fully dust, water and spurt resistant. It can be fully submerged in the drink, no worries. Take a severe spraying with water as well. And no differences on the security side of things. It's once again a basic in-display optical fingerprint sensor here on the OPPO Reno 16. It's a shame that it's not an ultrasonic scanner, which would be a bit more accurate, a bit more dependable if your fingers are grubby or moist. Though to be fair, even if I've just washed my hands, generally works absolutely fine. As you can see, they're super responsive as well. You're straight into your desktop, so I really can't complain. And you got good old face unlock as a slightly less secure backup option. And once you're in there, you can basically expect the same software experience here on the Reno 16 compared with the Pro. Give it a ColorOS version 16. And this once again comes with the promise of 5 OS updates and 6 full years of security patching. So pretty good as far as manufacturer software pledges go. Only the likes of Samsung and Google have it slightly beat with a full 7 years. In 7 years, will we even have phones, or will we just be tapping out messages to each other on the pipes of our underground vaults? You've got 256 gigs of storage as well, which is always great to see. You can actually upgrade that to 512 gigs depending on your region. I don't think anyone will be particularly shocked to learn there's bugger all micro SD memory card support. In fact, there's only space in that SIM tray for a single SIM, although naturally you've got full eSIM support as well. I'm still a massive fan of ColorOS. It's slick, it's smooth, generally runs quite nicely. See the occasional wee tiny little judder here, unfortunately, on the OPPO Reno 16. But more on all that later in the video. That's what they call a teaser. As usual, you got bloody brilliant customization slapped on the OPPO Reno 16. A pretty decent selection of custom themes. Tweak the vibe so it's just how you like. And you got all the apps you would expect slapped on here, like some voice recorders, etc, etc. And a couple of decent extra bonus bits slapped on here as well, like the Zen Space, which is really good if you just want the entire world to bugger right off and leave you alone. Unfortunately, if you dive back into that apps tray, you've also got all of the crapware stuffed on here. Good old AliExpress, Temu, all of the meta-shaped shenanigans. all of which does thankfully just bugger right off without any complaints or minor ball ache at worst. And oh yes, of course, no modern smartphone would be complete without a whole massive great big heap of AI bollocks. I love it, you love it, you got all the usual AI translations and transcribers and all that stuff. Not too much, to be fair. Although yes, just like its pro sibling, the OPPO Reno 16 sports a dedicated AI key stuffed away here on the left edge, which you can push in at any point. And by default, this captures whatever is sat there on your screen, pulls out any pertinent information, and then creates an AI summary, which you can then quickly and easily search for using the likes of Gemini later on. And this key is called the Snap key, and you do have limited, unfortunately, customization over it all. So if you don't like Mindspace particularly much, you can change it to a Do Not Disturb button. You can have it quick load the camera, turn on the torch, a couple of other bits, but there's really not many options in here at all. Really would be handy if it was a proper full-on macro key that you could program to do whatever you want, but worst case scenario, again, if you don't like it, you can just disable it. And to be fair, didn't find myself accidentally poking it much at all this past, I think maybe one time when I sat the phone in a phone holder to watch a bit of Crunchyroll and it just accidentally poked it. And that 6.32 inch AMOLED display, almost identical to the Pro model, and it's another good one. Might be compact, but it's nice and crispy with that 1.5K resolution. Perfectly happy sitting back and enjoying a movie or cracking on with a Crunchyroll box set on this thing. Nice natural looking visuals. You do have HDR10 plus streaming support on here. Perfectly bright enough to counter any annoying pesky glare on sunshiny days, which we've been having an awful lot of lately, huzzah. You got 38-40Hz PWM dimming if you are a bit more sensitive to OLED displays, that's all good. Refresh rate does max out at 120Hz here compared with 144Hz on that Pro model. But to be fair, you'll only really notice a difference if you happen to enjoy a supported game that runs at 144Hz on that Pro. It's such a marginal difference, to be honest, but my knackered old peepers wouldn't be able to tell the difference between 120 and 144Hz. Believe me, I've tried. As for the OPPO Reno 16 stereo speaker output, well, that top speaker is just an earpiece speaker, so not the best balance around, but you get a reasonable stereo type effect. Kind of loud on the top volume, certainly not one of the loudest around. It's quite a compact handset after all, and not the most bassy of audio either, which just sounds like a whole bunch of moaning and griping, but you know, they're absolutely fine and just for kicking back with a bit of Crunchyroll, bit of YouTube or whatever. For actually enjoying some music or whatever, of course, get some Bluetooth speakers or headphones connected, and I've had sod all issue in that department. Flawless connection even when I've been out and about in quite busy built up areas, and you've got a 10-band EQ if you do want to mess around with the audio output. Now, performance is one area where the OPPO Reno 16 series can't quite kick it with those slightly more expensive flagships. The OPPO Reno 16 Pro is powered by MediaTek's Dimensity 8550, already kind of an upper-ish mid-range chipset. Whereas for the regular Reno 16, OPPO's actually taken a big step down and just made do with one of Qualcomm's Snapdragon 7 Gen 4s. Well, you've also got less RAM stuffed in this thing as well, 8 gigs versus 12. As I mentioned before, for the everyday running, the OPPO Reno 16 generally fine, but the Pro certainly superior. Never got any jip out of that thing, whereas the Reno 16 do see the occasional wee stumble here and there, the odd pause. One of the biggest problems for me was using the camera app. So occasionally, you see, it just takes a wee while to load up, which you wouldn't expect. Well, I've also found that occasionally swapping between the different modes can just take a little bit longer again than you'd expect from a smartphone at this sort of price point. As for gaming, well, the OPPO Reno 16 Pro model can generally cope with anything you chuck at it, even Wuthering Waves on the highest graphics settings, even if the frame rate isn't as consistently high as it is on many flagship phones. Unfortunately, again, however, the regular Reno 16 does struggle with more demanding games. You can just about cope with Wuthering Waves on the default medium graphics settings, but the frame rate is a wee bit all over the place when things get proper tasty and the local wildlife just tries to inexplicably murder you. And thankfully, OPPO's vapor chamber cooling does help to keep things from getting too toasty, just as it did on the Pro, but I'd certainly say if you are a hardcore gamer, definitely look to that Pro model instead. The good news is though, you do at least get that full-on dedicated gaming mode again here on the Reno 16, which can help to boost the performance as much as possible anyway. It includes a whole bunch of other tools to help improve the immersion and general gaming satisfaction. Unfortunately, however, I have noticed that the Reno 16 does get rather toasty if you're using the camera quite a bit, especially to shoot lots of video, at which point the performance gets even more janky. However, no differences when it comes to the battery tech here on the regular OPPO Reno 16 compared with its more expensive Pro sibling. Once again, a 6,000 mAh capacity battery. Here in Europe, it is slightly bigger in other regions. And once again here on the Reno 16, I found the battery life has been good, if not particularly stellar, like it is on some rivals like the Poco X8 Pro Max, for instance. I'm quite a heavy user, I want to be pretty thorough when testing these things out. So, typically have around sort of 5 to 6 hours of screen on time a day. And with that kind of usage, I found that I'm generally just dipping into power saver mode come the end of a day. But, if I've been particularly hammering the camera, for instance, then I do find myself sometimes scraping into single digits, at which point, if you're out and about in the evening, it starts to get a little bit tense. But on the other hand, I have found that the OPPO Reno 16, just like the Pro, doesn't wilt under pressure either. So for instance, if you are just gaming non-stop and a good bit of weather and waves, you'll still get just under 5 hours of action from a 100% charge, which is only slightly under what I saw on the Pro, which was closer to sort of 5.5 hours of action. And the Reno 16, like the Pro, again supports 80-watt wired charging, Super VOOC or whatever they call it. So bung a cable in there, you can comfortably get a full charge from near depleted in sort of an hour-ish. But unfortunately, again, just like the Pro, there's bugger all love for wireless charging support here, which ain't great considering the price. And then finally, my lovelies, let's finish off this lovely wee OPPO Reno 16 review with a bit of a squint at that camera tech. And again, it's mostly the same hardware as the Pro, not entirely though, because OPPO has ripped out that 200 megapixel main Samsung sensor and replaced it instead with a 50 meg Sony Lytia 610. You basically got the same camera experience as you do on the Pro, including a dedicated portrait mode, dedicated night mode. You can piddle about creating your own stickers. You can once again stick photos or even video clips on top of other videos and create weird things like this. If that's your bag, as you can tell, I'm 100% here for that. The strength of the Reno 16, just like the Pro, is for shooting living subjects. You've got a generally dependable portrait mode and the phone can handle unexpected motion no problem, as long as the lighting isn't low, in which case you will get that inevitable blur. Colours are once again well captured, even in less than stellar light, and they look pretty close to what you'll see with the naked eye. And sharp contrast also handled pretty well, with saturation proven rather rare. But of course the OPPO Reno 16 isn't quite as good as that Pro model in softer light. You do get noticeably more flaring of light sources and a wee bit more grain creeping in there at times. But one of the true strengths of these Reno smartphones is the optics. With OPPO, you're going to get some decent camera tech that spaffs out some good looking photos and video too. My only real complaint being that here on the Reno 16, the camera app is generally laggier than that Pro model, which means that occasionally I've missed a potentially fantastic shot just because it's taken so long to load up and then get into the right mode and then finally actually activate the shutter. And the camera app appears to have just completely died on me during the filming of this video, which again sums it up quite nicely. Sometimes it can just completely fall on its arse. But here on the Reno 16, the other two camera sensors are the same as the Pro. So you've got another 50 meg telephoto shooter with 3.5 times optical zoom. And this can punch in really far and still get a fairly crisp shot as long as you're just focusing on buildings or regular objects. So that AI sharpening pretty decent for standard stuff. And you've got yourself a 50 megapixel ultra wide angle shooter as well, which is one of the more impressive efforts I've tested lately, even if there's bug roll stabilization. This again proves pretty capable when it comes to dodgy contrast, and it can pump out photos with reasonably realistic tones. And with both the OPPO Reno 16 and the OPPO Reno 16 Pro, you can capture your home movies at 4K resolution at 30 or 60 frames per second with HDR enabled, as I'm doing right now. The results are generally decent. The audio pickup's pretty clean. You've got that auto horizon correction, which corrects up to 5 degrees of tilt, and it helps to improve the stabilization. So recording when you're moving at pace or sweeping the camera around, not a problem. And then up front, you've got a 50 meg selfie camera on both the regular Reno 16 and the Reno 16 Pro here as well. And again, you can capture your lovely mug at 4K resolution, far too much crispy Ultra HD detail there, at either 30 or 60 frames per second with HDR enabled, as I have done here. And there you have it, my lovelies. That in a delicious wee nutshell is what I reckon of the OPPO Reno 16 after using it as my full-time phone. And gotta say, I really did not enjoy using it as my full-time phone as much as I did that Pro, despite the fact that it looks identical, feels exactly the same. Can't really see much of a difference in the software experience or anything, but it's just the performance. The performance just ain't as hot here, or it is literally hot here if you are using that camera quite a bit. Pretty much everything else I did enjoy. You know, the camera is still really good, if not quite as capable as the Pro in more testing conditions. The battery life's still perfectly decent, but I would certainly say if you have the means to, then definitely upgrade to the Pro if you're set on a Reno 16 because of the performance boost, and not even just if you're a gamer. Otherwise, you've also got some solid alternatives around, including my favorite of the year so far, the OPPO X8 Pro Max, which is stunning value for money, excellent performance, still some pretty capable camera tech, if not quite as good as the Reno, excellent battery life that works. It's a bit tricky to get a hold of, but I'd also highly recommend the Vivo X300 if you are looking for a more compact handset that's also highly capable, and the Xiaomi 17 is a bit of a banger too. Anyway, I'll stop wibbling on now. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on the OPPO Reno 16 and the 16 Pro down in the comments below. If you do want a full selection of alternative options, definitely check out my ranking of the best compact smartphones right now, which went live just a week or two ago. In the meantime, please do poke subscribe, ding that notifications bell, all the usual YouTube bollocks, and have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful rest of the week. Cheers, everybody. Love you.